It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and zero cooking. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite food delivered straight to you. Get Burger King, Subway, Popeyes, and hundreds more local favorites and savor every last bite. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Today on CityCast Boise. With the economy still shaky and classes starting next week, back-to-school shopping is hitting families harder than ever. From rising costs to tight budgets, parents across the valley are feeling the pressure. So we're bringing back this episode packed with tips for finding the best local deals. It's Tuesday, August 5th. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. Today, I'm joined by Heather Wheeler, co-founder of Crazy Coupon Lady, or KCL, who is here to give us back-to-school savings tips. Thank you so much for joining us, Heather.
Yes, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
One of the reasons that I wanted to invite you is because you are one of the first, like the OG coupon expert. And I just want to know, are there cost-effective ways for families to get the school supplies they need without blowing up their budget?
Yes, there really are. Although it's a little more expensive this year. As I've been doing my back to school shopping, I'm like, wait, binders are how much? We are seeing that just like everything else, it's a little bit more expensive. But there are some really great ways to save. And do you want me to jump right into it?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask a little bit about your process, unless you have like some like hot tips or like top of the show. We've got to hit that because that's.
I'm dying to talk about all of it, but really, sort of my ethos is if you're willing to take just a little bit more time, and like really for back to school shopping, that means if you're willing to hit 2 or 3 stores instead of maybe getting everything all at one store, that really can save you significant money. I'm talking, $50 or $100 on certain items. And so the shopping around thing really does pay off with back to school shopping specifically.
That's good to know. That's because sometimes that feels like, is this worth it? But putting hard numbers on it, I think, makes it feel a lot more worth it.
Totally.
And there are so many different parts to back to school shopping. It's a whole process. You have clothes, you have shoes, you have supplies, you have, water bottles, lunch boxes, the snacks and the food. So how do you prioritize your back to school purchases?
So I like to do supplies first because those tend to run out. Like if you shop Target too late, there's going to be a lot of things that are out of stock. And so what I like to do with school supplies is first go through the inventory in your house, because a lot of times we have leftover stuff. And so I like to get it all on my kitchen table and just kind of go through the kids list and like check things off that we already have. So I like to reuse binders, the filler paper. We usually have a lot of index cards.
Always leftover filler paper.
Right. All of that. And even like crayons or markers, you can sometimes, and scissors, you can reuse. So first inventory your house. And then my favorite place for school supplies is actually Staples. They have the best prices for crayons, markers, glue, filler paper, folders, spiral notebooks. And right now they have a coupon. So if you take in any item that you want to recycle, it could be an old ripped backpack, an old calculator, whatever you're not going to use, you can take that in and they're going to give you a $10 coupon off of a $30 purchase.
Whoa.
And so then if you get all of those items that we know are cheapest at Staples and then get right to that $30 mark and then use your $10 coupon and get everything for $20, that's going to be significant savings just right there.
That is huge savings. How early do you start thinking about buying school supplies?
Oh, it's terrible. But as soon as the kids get out of school for the summer, is when I start thinking about it. And we usually see sales start to ramp up in late June. So that's really probably when you should be paying attention. And, the other thing is I like to stock up. It's not just back to school. It's like your home office, anything you're going to need for the whole year. As far as office supplies and school supplies go, we should be buying them between the last week of June and the last week of August.
Okay, I was going to ask you because everyone is advertising, back to school sales and everything's on sale right now. But is there like an off season or a time where it's actually a better deal? Everyone's just advertising now because school's starting up soon?
Right now really is the best time. And so the only thing that you could wait on is really the clothes, because all the summer clearance is going to start once the kids go back to school. So if you can hold your kids off from the clothing shopping, you could do that in September. Like the Labor Day sales are really good. And so if you can hold your kids off, I think you could wait on that piece. But I know so many kids are like so excited for that first day of school outfit. So that one's a little bit tricky.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I think everyone is really curious, always curious this time of year. Where are the best deals? What stores or websites have deals that are just like so hot that the crazy coupon lady shops there?
Okay, so as far as clothing goes, here's my two favorite. The J. Crew factory has 60% off clearance right now, and the Gap outlet has 55% off clearance. So that's where I'm taking my kids to shop. And then I actually really love TJ Maxx and Ross, like for my teenagers, because they have, those brands that the teenagers all love, but better prices. So those are my three favorite places for clothing. And then Staples is where I go, and Target for my school supplies. Staples is great because they'll price match Amazon. And so you just keep your phone with you, have the Amazon app up while you're shopping Staples. And if there's anything cheaper, like the graphing calculators right now are $120 at Staples, but they're $100 at Amazon. And so when you're checking out, you just show them, as long as it's sold by Amazon.com and not a third party, they'll match any price at Amazon. So I love Staples for that. That's my go-to. And their stock stays, pretty well stocked. Whereas like Target, I feel like runs out really quick, like I mentioned.
Got a kid who's always asking, why? Summit Innovation Lab is the place where curious kids in the Treasure Valley thrive. Summit Innovation Lab isn't your typical STEM center. It's educator-owned, totally local, and combines professional-grade equipment with the personalized attention only a master's-level educator can provide. And they keep classes small, so every child gets the support they need. They offer a variety of year-round classes, from Lego robotics to preschool engineering and computer science. Summit Innovation Lab keeps your child growing and learning. Is your child's school closed on Friday? Looking for something for them to do on those random wonky days off during the school year? No problem. They offer Friday camps and are open every day the schools around the valley are closed. And this fall, they're leveling up with their new nonprofit, STEM Boise, and hosting Girls Who Code to bring even more access to STEM fun. If you're ready to fuel your kids' curiosity and get them off those screens, head to summitinnovationlab.com to explore classes.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Do you have a favorite Target or Staples location in the Treasure Valley that you like to go to, where they're maybe always stocked, or parking's better, or there's a better likelihood you're going to find what you need there?
Yes. So for me, it's the Staples and Target that are on the corner of Chinden and Eagle Road. And it's nice because they're close. And so I just did my daughter's back to school shopping, and we started at Staples and got everything except they didn't have one thing. And so then we hopped over to Target and did that. So I like those because they're close to each other in case you need to go to two stores. And that Staples is always stocked. They have, everything you need. It's not super busy, and it's an easy in and out.
Heather, another factor in back to school shopping is how much time it takes. And I know taking the time to go to multiple places, you can save money, but eventually I reach the point where I'm just done. And if I have to go to 3 more places to try to save money, it just starts to feel like a hassle. So if I wanted to go to just like one spot where I can get most of the things on my list for a decent price, maybe I've put off school shopping and I'm like, okay, I got one shot at this. Where would you recommend people go?
I mean, I've already said, but Staples really is my favorite place for the one stop. You can get everything there. And like I said, they price match. They have really competitive prices during back to school. So that's my go-to. But here's, a lot of people don't think of the drugstores when they're talking about back to school shopping, but CVS has some really great sales on like the hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, some of that stuff that you don't, those are going to be a little bit higher priced at Staples. So if you can make a stop at CVS, there's some really great prices.
I would say, and since the pandemic, definitely we want the hand sanitizer and the Lysol wipes in the classroom. Let's not get sick
Keep
this
them
year.
stocked. And if you can buy more, I always buy extras of those products so that in December, when the classrooms are running low, I can just take some in to my teachers and like get them restocked.
That is a great idea. What back to school items do you feel are worth splurging on versus what items are you always trying to get as cheaply as possible?
Okay, the splurge items for me are backpacks, binders, and the calculators for the older kids. Like getting the name brand calculator, I think you can last the whole 4 years that way. So backpacks, I tell my kids we buy one every 3 years. And so we're getting a really high quality. I love JanSport because they have a lifetime guarantee. And, there's a lot of, speaking of guarantees, there's a lot of clothing brands that will do that. Like Old Navy, for their uniforms, they have a 1-year guarantee. So when my kids were in uniforms, we would shop there because then towards the end of the year, we could go, return them and get new items there. Target also has a guarantee on their Cat and Jack. And so they have a 1-year guarantee. You have to have the receipt, but you can do that as well. So those items I like to buy there. But the backpacks, look for the lifetime guarantees so that you can, because those can last. The kids like to get one every year.
Yes, yeah.
But you don't need to. And so as long as, we tried to not get anything that's too trendy or with a big print so that those will last longer. And same with like the binders, especially for middle school and high school. I think that you can get those to last 2 or 3 years as well if you're buying the higher quality ones.
Honey Bunches of Oats es la forma perfecta de empezar el día con tu familia, con hojuelas crujientes y miel de verdad que a los niños les encanta. Además, deliciosos trozos de granola, nueces y fruta que todos van a disfrutar. Honey Bunches of Oats es para todos. Toca el banner para saber más.
Join me, Dr. Panico, with Cindy Lauper and Chef Michelle Bernstein to talk about plaque psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis, the potential connection and risk of developing permanent joint damage.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur.
Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com/Cindy.
Another big cost to the start of the school year are sports fees and getting kids all of the sports gear that they need. Are there any couponing deals or hacks for getting back to school sports equipment and gear?
I have found for sports gear that online is the best option. When I shop in store, it feels like they often don't have the size I need or the specific thing. And so I'm often shopping Amazon or online at like dicksportinggoods.com or shields.com. I find that just is more convenient and you can find savings still. Typically the online sales match the in-store sales, but the inventory is better online.
Heather, you've been teaching people how to do couponing and find deals for 15 years now with Crazy Coupon Lady. Are there any basic tips or tricks that people could use outside of this one back to school scenario who are, they've been hit hard by these inflated prices and they're just trying to save a little bit or maybe like dip their toes into couponing or looking for deals? What are some ways that people could kind of start getting into that?
Yes. So my best tip, and I've been saying this for 15 years and it holds true today, is to pick one store and learn how to save money at one store. It gets tempting when you realize how much money there is to save. It gets tempting to do everything all at once. And so it could be Walmart, it could be Fred Meyer, it could be one of the drugstores, really any of them. But just pick one and figure out their program. Like at Walmart, they have Walmart Cash now, which is like you get cash back on your purchases for certain items. The drugstores are, the best way to save, but it's more of a limited set of items that you can buy. But Walgreens or CVS is a great option. And then Albertsons or Kroger, they have high regular prices, but really good sales when you kind of stack it with the sales that they're running in store, plus the coupons that you can get like in Ibotta or Fetch. Those are rebate apps. There's really good savings. And so I like to tell people to pick the store that's closest to their house. And so whatever that is for somebody, there's a way to save. And so just pick one store and then really dive in. The Crazy Coupon Lady has, deals that we post every day for those stores. And so just pick a few items that are on your list and go try it out.
Do you feel like since you've been doing this for so long, is it easier to be budget friendly for a family in Boise and the Treasure Valley compared to other cities?
I think so, because we have, so many different grocery stores. We have CVS and Walgreens. And so as long as you're willing to kind of shop around, I think that we're in a really lucky spot because of that. There's a lot of competition in the market, which drives prices down.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to teach us some tips and help everybody get back to school within their budget.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
And really quickly, before we go, so many people became CityCast Boise Neighbors over the weekend. CityCast Boise Neighbors is our new membership program where you can get access to exclusive members-only events, emails with the best local activities coming up, ad-free podcast listening, and more for only $10 a month. So thank you so much to Jody J, Nora K, Lindsay L, Karen W, Gabriel G, Denise R, Kirk V, Nancy S, Jarrett B, Crystal S, Jack E, Robin C, Danielle P, and Suzanne B. Be like these smart neighbors. Join at citycast.membership.fm. That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure and tell your friends about the show so they can save a little money too. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a look at the impact of Idaho's new anti-camping laws. You won't want to miss it.